Hello and good evening and welcome to Green TV PATT Foundation Live. Tonight we have a very special guest, Mark Hill MBE. Now he's been awarded 2 operational commendations for distinguished service and exceptional valuable service in support operations. I think I've got that right, Mark. So welcome for joining us on the show tonight. How are you?
Yeah, good evening. Thank you for having me.
Oh, you're very welcome. So I know during the week you've been on Sky News, so this is probably a little bit small fry for you, but how was that, being on Sky
Yeah,
News?
it was fantastic, and I'm very excited to be here tonight as well. So it's been a great journey, and it was good for Sky News to pick up on the story I've been running with.
Oh, perfect. Well, we'll find a little bit more about that, viewers, so keep tuning in. So first of all, let's get a bit of background about you, Mark, and who you are and what you do. So first of all, if you'd like to tell us what your role was within the Army.
So I left school with no qualifications at the age of 16 and didn't really know what to do. But I've been in the Army Cadets, and that kind of was my springboard into adulthood. And I went to Bradford, where I'm from, and I joined the Army. I joined the infantry, the 1st Battalion, the Duke of Wellington's Regiment. So I spent 23 years in the regular army before transitioning back into civilian street.
Wow. So there's a linkage, isn't there, with the late, great Sir Tom Moore then? Tell me about that.
There is, yes. And as everyone knows now, Captain Sir Tom Moore is for me, he's a Duke's legend. Not only that, he's inspired millions of people, not just across the UK, but across the world. And coming from the same regiment as Captain Sir Tom Moore, it's inspired me to do more what I'm doing. Unfortunately, I never met him, but seen all his great work and his charity work that he's done over the year.
Yeah, it's so nice to be a part of it, and you know, it must fill you with pride as it does the rest of the nation. So very sad when he passed away, but what a character and what an example to set. So also you've met the Queen, so not many of us get to have that accolade. So tell me about that. How did that come about?
Yeah, it was a fantastic experience. And so when I left the Army, I had a couple of jobs before settling down to what I'm doing now. I'm proud to say I'm an Army reservist on a contract, or full-time reserve service. And when I came back initially on a 2-year contract, I was seconded onto the Prince Charles's charities in Redcar and Cleveland and working there. And I think through my work with helping young people who are on the cusp of going down the wrong side of the law, working with those young people, inspiring and motivating them to be their best. And so I think through my youth work, I was put forward for the MBE.
Yes, and that's a massive accolade. So how do you get the MBE, Mark? Is that just through your work? Is there a process?
Yeah, that's a good question. I didn't know anything about it until Christmas Eve on 2014, and I got a phone call from the boss saying, congratulations, you're going to be put forward for an MBE. Look out on the New Year's Honours list in a few days' time. And that was it. It was amazing. And then in March 2015, me and my family went to Buckingham Palace, met the Queen, and yeah, it was an amazing adventure.
Oh, I can imagine. It's, you know, it must have been an absolute, can you know, to look back and think, wow, I achieved that. So really well done. I mean, the charity work that you do is inspiring. You know, I've been following your social media on LinkedIn, for example. Tell us a little bit about that for our viewers here that hasn't seen sort of your posts.
Yeah, so I'm very, you know, in the recent years, of maybe last 4 or 5 years, I've been very passionate about giving something back, and that for me has been through physical fitness awareness.
Okay.
I've been lucky. I've been running from the age of 8 when I joined my local running club in Cleckheaton, just outside Bradford. And to promote mental health awareness, I've lost a couple of friends, close friends, through suicide. And for me, it's about promoting mental health awareness and reaching out. And I think you will agree with me, Gail, that I think 99.99% of people, if you ask them something or reach out, others will help you.
Yes, Yeah, totally. We've had previous guests on the show, and it's literally that helping hand. I mean, you'll know this from having an army background. You're inbred with, put up, shut up, be tough, and you're not designed to show any sort of weakness, because you're a soldier, and that's, and when you get into the, you see some awful things, some do, some don't. You come out of there, and you do suffer the effects afterwards, and it's a vicious circle that guys don't reach out because it's not the manly thing to do. So which leads me on to what you're doing at the moment with Pull Up a Sandbag, which is it's a great concept. Soldiers can relate to it. So me waffling on, you tell us more about that, Mark.
Yeah, definitely. It's so around about 2016 I had this idea of, it's difficult, as you mentioned earlier, for young men in particular to reach out and talk. And I think 2021 moving forward, it's open that people can talk about hopefully their problems and get some help. So the idea was all about talking. And I suppose people will have heard swing the light. Pull up a sandbag is an army or a military kind of terminology where, pull up a sandbag, somebody's telling a story, a dit, and for me it was all about connecting people to talk about, if they're suffering from mental health issues, to talk about it. So that's the reason why I set it up, and instead of talking to people, to try and have some kind of visual representation of maybe the weight people are carrying. I did a couple of years ago. There was I took part in the Medicine Ball Challenge, which was fantastic. And I know it's started up again, and it's something I'd love to take part in, because that is all about kind of a visualization of the weight people suffering from PTSD, or not all wounds are visible, that are suffering on a daily basis. So Pull Up a Sandbag for me is all about talking and getting your problems out to the fore.
And what a great analogy. Sandbag is a big heavy object, so if you can imagine, that's kind of what it's like carrying these burdens and these feelings and these troubles. I know that from personal experience in the past, and to sort of release that and take the troubles away. So how have you found that? How successful has it been? Are you finding more people are opening up and talking, or is it something that you need more help to publicize, to get out there, to get more and more people to open up?
Yeah, this month, as probably most people are aware, is Mental Health Awareness Month. And there's lots of work to be done throughout society. So I'm not just passionate about helping armed forces veterans, but it's a wider community and society in general. As you know, we're coming out of lockdown, and there's lots of people suffered. So through my work and raising awareness for ABF The Soldiers Charity, I'm very passionate about promoting mental health awareness.
Yeah, absolutely. I know a lot of people, I mean, obviously in the business world, say that I've dealt with, people are anxious, whether it's going back to work or, even going back to normal in terms of doing your daily things. So although we are moving out of lockdown, this say by the 21st of June that things are going to be lifted dramatically and that we're going to start to ease back up. But obviously, as more and more people are vaccinated, it's still going to be a little bit hard for people to adapt. We've been a year, haven't we? Being used to this. I mean, I personally won't walk out the house without leaving a mask. It's going to be a stigma there. So yeah, absolutely. I'd also like to talk, Mark, and touch on the coaching side that you do. So obviously that goes hand in hand with your work. So tell me a bit more about that, because there'll be people out there that are interested in your coaching aspect.
Yeah, sure. So through my awareness of mental health awareness, physical fitness is a great thing. So if I can inspire others to get out into the fresh air, to do some kind of physical fitness, I think physical fitness is linked around mental health, resilience, sound body and mind. So if people can get out and do 3 sessions a week, whether that's walking, running, cycling, going to the gym, whatever it is, get out there and do some kind of physical fitness. And you mentioned running with a sandbag. I've only done it the once, if you like, because it wasn't really designed to run with the sandbag. But this weekend just passed, I took part in the Captain Sir Tom 100 challenge, which saw me running 10,000 meters with the sandbag.
Wow, gosh, that's quite an accolade. How long did it take you to do that? And did you actually manage to actually do that?
Yeah, definitely. So
well done,
it started last Friday and covered the weekend up to Bank Holiday Monday. So I decided to do something every day, and it's been a bit of a bizarre journey because I'm training for the Great North Run for the Soldiers Charity to raise money for them. And one of my local runs, I came across, it's a bit funny, a pheasant, and a wild pheasant, and it started running. It was mimicking my running. So I stopped, got my phone out and ran up and down a few times to record it. It's happened about 10 times now. And so we call him Fez the pheasant. And he's brought so many observations on social media, Twitter, LinkedIn, lots of people being happy about. And that's what's got me onto Sky News, onto TalkSport, and onto this channel here tonight to talk about my work. And so the default setting was, if Fez didn't turn up on the day, I was going to do something more physical. And it's a bit of light-hearted entertainment with the pheasant. There's a serious message behind, what I'm doing, raising awareness for mental health. So on the Saturday, I did the 10,000 meters running with a sandbag. It took me around 90 minutes. I had a couple of people out en route to do some video footage for promotion later. And then on the Sunday, I did 100, because it's all round about the Captain Tom 100. So I did 100 exercises, press-up, sit-ups, and reverse dips. And the hardest challenge I did was on the Monday. And it took me about 6 hours to do this challenge on the Monday. And I wanted to say thank you to Captain Sir Tom Moore in 100 languages. So I learned the languages, how to say thank you, in batches of 10.
Wow, can you do that now? That would make it.
Well, we can't do all 100, but I can give you some of them. Shukran, Shukariye, Tashakor, Danyavad, Danka.
Oh, wow. Well, that's very, very, very impressive. Oh, that's great. Well, most people have a running partner, so you have a running pheasant. So that's absolutely awesome. And obviously obviously we've just laughed. It's a bit of light-hearted fun, but there's serious message behind that. So, massively brilliant with your work. So with the pull up a sandbag, Mark, how can somebody watching this tonight, how can they get in contact with you? If somebody is needing help, support, needing to talk, etc. Our veteran community and anybody else that, how do they get in contact with you, Mark?
Yeah, definitely. So I kind of live on social media like most people today. It almost becomes a second job, doesn't it? So I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Twitter and Facebook, and you've seen my name there. If you just search Mark Hill MBE, you'll find me. Equally, if you Googled Mark Hill MBE, Great North Run or Club a Sandbag, you'll find me that way.
Right, perfect. And we can probably, here on the PATT Foundation, we could probably put some links on there as well, so for people to reach out. So you mentioned about your run that you're doing for charity. So tell me a little bit more about that and how people can get involved and, sponsor you. Maybe there's some potential businesses out there that could come on board and support you in that. Just tell me a bit more about that, Mark.
Yeah, so building up towards Sunday, the 12th of September, which is the Great North Run.
Right.
I did it 2 years ago, in 2019, first time I ever did the Great North Run. And what a great experience. The Northeast, people came out in their drones to support. And it was a funny one because I wanted to do a good time. And I ended up doing it in 2 hours, which I was happy with. And you've almost got to enjoy the atmosphere because you can't run the race you want because there's so many people around you to be running a straight line and the speed you want to run at. So I enjoyed that. So I wanted to do it again. I was doing it last year because of COVID. Everything's got cancelled. So I'm kind of a buy ticket, if you like, for this year. So I'm hoping it's going to go ahead. In terms of sponsorship, I am raising awareness for the Soldiers Charity and money for the charity. But for me, getting the money is great, but I understand people can't always afford it coming out of lockdown. And not only that, there are so many other people, hundreds, if not thousands of people, doing great work for their charities, which is very commendable. So it's to raise awareness for the charity I'm running for. And if anybody can sponsor or gives a donation, that would be amazing. It's a Just Giving page. You'll find that on my social media links. But if a business out there would like to give probably a little bit more than you would donate to Just Giving, get in touch with me, and I can put you in touch with the Soldiers Charity, and through a back payment or a bank payment, you can do your sponsorship that way.
Yeah, it's about raising awareness, isn't it, and supporting. Not obviously there's a common goal there to raise some funds to help, but it's more about the spirit of it and actually doing it. So good luck with that. I mean, we'll help you here at the PATT Foundation as much as possible, and I know the Green Task Force will be 100% behind you as well. So in fact, we might have to ask Andy Steele to maybe get a Green Task Force t-shirt for you. Maybe you could run in that for the veterans. So we'll see. That's another conversation. But going back to obviously the Sir Tom Moore, and you spoke it in 100 different languages. Just before viewers out there, just before we was on the show, we sort of have a pre-chat, don't we, to find out about the week and have a little bit of a catch up and a chin wag. It came about that, Mark, you actually speak Arabic. So you spent some time in Egypt. Tell us about that. So it's a little bit different subject, but we always like to find out about the person.
Yeah, definitely. So for me, through my service in the military, the regulars, communication has always been key. And on operations, I was always keen to learn the local language where I was deployed to. And so I picked up Arabic, and I'm self-taught. And what happened was, when I left the army, my first job, I worked as a school staff instructor at Sedbergh School in the Yorkshire Dales. It was great. I loved it, but I always wanted more. And I ended up actually, I lived in Dubai, working in Abu Dhabi in the schools. And for me, it was the Arabic language that got me there in the first instance, I believe. But saying that, when you travel the world, as most armed forces personnel, veterans have done that, people speak very good English wherever you go. So it was a trade-off of me learning Arabic and the kids in the school, the Emirati kids, learning English.
Oh wow, it's still a good sort of their personal skill to learn, and sort of take that with you. So well done on that. We've had quite a few comments, Mark, throughout the show in the group chat, and people thank you for all your comments and words of encouragement. The general consensus is awesome work, Mark, that you're doing, great work that you're doing. Will support and fully be on board as much as possible. I had the privilege of meeting you up in Middlesbrough and was tree planting when the Mayor of Middlesbrough, Andy Preston, who's also been on the show, came down. So we're all linking together, we're all sort of building that community and working together. So it's really inspiring, and it's I don't consider any of this work, or it's all good fun, and it's a good feel good factor. So look out, everybody, for the various links. I think we've posted some on the show, but you can find them on throughout PATT, and obviously Mark. If you type in his name at Google, that's probably the best linkage, actually. I think that's how I found you on Twitter initially, was you can find anything in Google, can't you? So type in there to get in touch. Is there anything else you'd like to say to our network out there before we sign off for tonight? Thank you so much for coming on the show. It's been amazing, and what you're doing, just keep going. We need more people in the world like you, Mark, for sure.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me. And the listeners out there, coming out of lockdown, moving forward, I'm inspired to help other veterans from all three services and the community as well. If people are struggling, please reach out to somebody. Speak about your problems with your family, your friends, with others. Always reach out to me. I can help out and put you in communication with others that can help. But equally, people outside the armed forces family, if you're struggling, just still get in touch with me. I'm still passionate about helping everybody. But equally, on the other side of the coin, if you know of somebody who may be struggling, then you reach out, you have that helping hand, pull up that sandbag, have that conversation, and let's look after each other.
Yeah, sometimes it's just a simple how are you, you know, and how people underestimate the power of talking and reaching out. It's more valuable than any prescription drug out there. You know, it's much better to speak about your problems, as everybody's realizing. So it's just making that leap of faith, isn't it? So well, thanks ever so much. It's been a great show, really interesting, really worthwhile. I've loved speaking with you, Mark. I shall wish you all the luck in the world with your North Run and everything else that you're doing, and let us know if you need any help in the future. And yes, enjoy the rest of your evening, everybody. Thanks again. It's been bye from Gail Acaster.
Thank you.